I had a hard time in San Francisco. Um, a lot of great places to eat, very beautiful city, great people at times. I think the joke that I make is that Los Angeles is too self absorbed to actually care about politics. People think that they know what's going on, but they really don't because they're so self obsessed. Fall of 2016, I felt like I was over Santa Barbara and I moved to LA, and I was supposed to temporarily stay in LA. And about a March rolled around, didn't have a job yet. I was doing like Postmates. I was living in Woodland Hills with my little brothers and my twin and my dad. And he asked me to stick around, help him out, take the kids to school, pick them up. Neither of them had their driver's license at the time. And I think Katya was working. So I did that. Finally got a job in the summer. That was a fucking adventure. Fuck. Oh, the Edwards at Calabasas. That had a lot of highs and lows. Which eventually I had to leave to go to Thousand Oaks, the theater in Thousand Oaks. Then I came back and yeah, that was fun. The whole thing was a fucking roller coaster of emotions I don't want to get into. Essentially, I decided to go back to school, finish my last 2 years. So that takes me to where I really want to talk about, which is my 2 semesters in San Francisco. So if you follow my social media, I said a lot of disparaging things about San Francisco. I didn't really like it. Part of the reason why was, take it back to the summer of 2019, right before I left. I started to have a lot of health problems. Now at the time, I had 2 jobs in and out, and I was back at the fucking theater in Calabasas. Fuck. And uh, I came down with pneumonia at some point. I think it was like July. That sucked. So I was finally getting better, and I went to a cookout with coworker, friend, on off lover of mine, um, and she happened to be leaving, so they were celebrating her spending some time away from home. And I go and had a great time, great family. The family had some dogs. They're pretty cute. I petted them. She made a joke that they might have fleas. I go to work later that night. I'm on working handheld all night, which I don't mind. I love handheld. Some people hate it. I love it. Okay, because I always get a bunch of free shit. um, and um, and I'm having a hard time standing, like putting any weight on both feet. And I'm like, damn, something's wrong. So luckily they leave an umbrella for us, so I was kind of leaning on it, and my 10 was able to rest my feet, and it felt fucking glorious. But then I had to get back out there, and I get home that night. Turns out my feet, my ankles, my legs, and up into my knees were all swollen on both legs, because apparently I'm allergic to flea bites. And I was covered in flea bites. Took about a week and a half, but I finally got prescribed some medication that subsided the swelling. I remember I took the medication. It was at night. I went to bed, woke up to get a drink of water. It was only on my way back from the kitchen that I realized the swelling was gone. It was pretty cool. But yeah, like I said, I was working both jobs at the time, and I think I only called out like once because I had pneumonia. And while I had gone to work with that, because it's not contagious, I don't believe. Um, I had called out some days. I didn't want to see unreliable or, a bitch. So I wasn't able to call out, and I was a lot of pain walking with those sleep bites and all that swelling. And I was trying various medications. But for whatever, I have a natural distrust of the doctors, so I wasn't really going. I was just doing teledoc. Eventually, I got hold of the right person who gave me the right, or prescribed me the right stuff. But that happened. So I moved up to San Francisco, and I remember I moved up in some pretty high spirits. I remember the first few days, I moved into a room in Daly City, which is just the city directly south of San Francisco, and it's only a few miles from campus of San Francisco State. And I remember I went to a park, and I was there, it was nice and sunny, and suddenly the fog, the Daly City, South San Francisco fog rolled in. And I remember thinking at the time, like, wow, this looks so magical. Like, I'm really going to like it here. Um, Ended up paying $1,300 a month for this tiny ass room. I could barely fit myself, let alone any friends that tried to visit, which we were able to for a few days with Ricky and Julio. But starting around Thanksgiving 2019, started to get these rashes across my body, on my groin, up my torso, my chest, my back, and they would come at night. So at first I thought, oh no, it's scabies, which I've had before. It wasn't scabies. Bed bites. Wasn't bed bites. Bed bugs. Which I've had before too. What hasn't bitten me? So feasted on me. Where was I? So I had to deal with that. And towards the end of the year, I ended up getting my seasonal sinus infection as well as an ear infection. So I finished the semester fucking just dealing with hives, my fucking sinus infection, my ear infection, which just won't fucking go away. It's compounding my fucking head. I can barely hear out of both ears. It was just annoying. It's just nagging, really. It's not like I feel sorry from it. It's just nagging. It's like all this shit is hitting me. So this is the end of the first semester. Finally get home, taking all these meds every day, right? Like I had been in the summer. Okay. I get home, I see a dermatologist and a allergist, which, by the way, turns out we're in network. I did a bad job researching, so I paid up the ass for both of them. Just bad when it comes to insurance. I just like, oh, this looks close by. Yeah, don't fucking do that. And I have my own insurance, by the way. So I go and they basically tell me it's hives. Hives is an allergic reaction to various things. Now, what they both told me is that it's really hard to determine what's causing the hives. Basically, your body is sending out chemicals trying to defend itself from some sort of buildup of histamines, and you need to take antihistamines to calm it the fuck down. The problem with hives, and it's hard to determine, as part of it is you need to go about a week without taking any meds. You need about a week of no attacks so that you can get tested for various allergies. In my case, I haven't had a week, let alone more than like 2 days where I haven't had an attack. So I pretty much have to take Zyrtec or Claritin every single night before bed, which means I wake up the next morning pretty groggy. The times that I've tried to test the waters, like, oh, let's see how long I can go so I can get tested. And I've tried a few times. If I don't do that, I don't just get a regular attack. I get a fucking vicious attack that not only covers my body, my back, my groin, but it gets up into my face, swells near my eyelids, my lips swell, and it affects my lungs. My breathing, basically. And that's happened a few times. And I have to even a couple of Claritins or Zyrtec won't deal with that. I have to basically start popping Benadryls, which is a higher dosage of antihistamines and basically anti-inflammatories and anti-allergy. And if you've ever taken more than one Benadryl at a time, you're a fucking zombie for like 24 hours. So that's what I've had to deal with nonstop since November. And then recently I got coronavirus. So basically since summer of 2019, while I was in San Francisco most of that time, working 4 or 5 days a week, either In-N-Out or Trader Joe's, taking 18 units both semesters, so that's 6 classes, trying to make it in a city that's impossibly expensive, unable to have my own room the second semester. I just have a bed on the ground, no frame, with a curtain. Which I chose. I did. I was paying $1,000 for, and I chose to do that. But it didn't quite work out for my health reasons, and I think a lot of that is why I started to resent San Francisco. I just felt like I just couldn't get out ahead. I just felt like I was drowning,